what I love? I love music from the Caribbean, Central, South America, Africa, and any music that is influenced by that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So I mostly work with artists and producers coming out of those places. But that's just my preference in music, and it's the best music in the world. Yeah, the music
Right.
that comes out of the Caribbean, that comes out of Cuba or Dominican Republic or Brazil or South Africa, it's the best music in the world.
There,
There's no,
I'm being I'm being bombarded with questions in the chat room, which is great because it means that the Conduit listeners are really engaged with what you're saying. And we've already seen the comment that they're taking notes. One of the questions from iShine is, what if you're self-producing your music? Do you need an attorney?
if you're self-producing, then as far as the recording is concerned, everything basically belongs to you. Yeah? And I'm assuming by self-producing, you're also writing all the songs yourself, and you're not doing a cover version of a Bob Marley
Right,
or a
and
Michael
creating the
Jackson.
rhythms too.
Yeah, because you can self-produce, but you use a Studio One rhythm self-produce. You can self-produce, and what you're recording is a cover of somebody else's work.
Did you get
Yeah?
permission?
So you still need to get some guidance if you're going to be using other people's work, even though you're self-producing. But having self-produced, then you need to get your music out there. You can do it on your own. You can enter into relationships with music distributors. Getting into a relationship with a music distributor requires legal guidance because there's going to be an agreement between yourself and the music distributor. You need legal advice as to how to deal with the distribution side of your music. You
I,
need legal guidance as to what to do, where to go, who to register with, to ensure that these various rights that are due to you, they generate income and the income actually gets into your pocket. Because it's not automatic. You have to know where to go, who to register with, how to register, and the various agencies around the world that represent the various rights. The rights that belong to the producer, the rights that belong to the songwriter, and the rights that belong to the person who actually sings. Because
absolutely.
in every record, there are basically three creative components:
Writer,
writer, performer, producer,
writer,
and
performer,
they're all
producer.
entitled.
Right, right. Right. Do you think there is a record or a music industry in Jamaica, and how professional is that music industry?
Um, oh, how do
I'm
I
asking
answer
you
that one
to.
then?
You can
We
pass on
all,
that one.
no, I'm not gonna. We all talk about the Jamaican music industry. We all talk about it. It is very informal. It is not properly structured. For a lot of the participants, it's just a hustle. So it has changed a lot in recent years, but we still have a far way to go before we have a structured industry. We have an informal industry basically. Yeah, most of the things that are done in an informal way because there are very few agreements between the participants. Just a brethren thing, until the song sells a million, then they are no longer brethren.
Right, because money's involved.
There are all kinds of, we know them, we've heard about all of them, all kinds of wars and fights between producers and artists and managers and so on, because at the outset they never dealt with it as a business relationship. It was a brethren thing, you know, we're going into the studio, we're going to make some music, and it just, you make good music and it goes out there and it sells. And then you have a problem determining who's entitled
What's
to
what? Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so we are struggling to formalize and structure the music industry in Jamaica. It has improved in recent years, but there's a long way to go. When you look at the value of Jamaica's music to the Jamaican people and the Jamaican economy, we have done a very, very, very poor job
Absolutely.
at organizing ourselves. Because it is what we're known for around the world, and yet we have not placed the required emphasis on treating it as
As a business.
real business.
There are companies that claim to act as publisher. This is a question from iShine, who will collect royalties for you. What do you think of those companies?
A music publisher basically performs a service where they represent the songwriters. That's what music publishers do. Music publishing, songwriting income is one of the most lucrative sides of the music industry. It is also very complicated because it has to do with who actually composed the music and who wrote the lyrics to the song, and how the royalties due to these people are collected and distributed to them. So that's what music publishers do. They act on behalf of songwriters to ensure that the rights that they have and the royalties that they are entitled to, they do get it. And if you're a songwriter and you record music, or your music is recorded by someone, it can end up in any country in the world, on radio, on television, in a movie, in an advertisement, and all of those activities generate income. To monitor that as an individual sitting in Kingston is almost impossible. Yeah, so you have music publishers who a good music publisher would have affiliations globally and would know what collection societies you should be associated with as a songwriter, and take care of the necessary paperwork to ensure that when your songs generate income, it actually comes through to you. And in doing this, they usually ask for a percentage of what is generating as income from the song.
Lloyd, my co-host and engineer and producer, Peter Gale, is actually in the studio, and he has a question for you. He has a question for you.
Yeah, the question I'd like to... Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
the question I'd like to ask you, Mr. Stanbury, what about artists who haven't been compensated for royalties for years? And artists who have passed on, but the royalties for them didn't get to go to their families and so forth. Can you hear me?
Yeah, he's yeah.
What? That is one of the most common questions I get, you know, from artists, recording artists, as well as songwriters. You know, they have been recording, working with people for many, many years. Their songs are all over the place, and they've never received royalties, from these songs. And I'll go back to what I said before, where when you're starting out, that's the point at which you need to get the advice. So you put the appropriate arrangements in place to enable you to collect. Try to do it in the reverse. It is very difficult.
Absolutely, because the horse has gone through the gate.
Yeah, so you need to address the issue at the very beginning.
Right.
You need to ensure that you have the right agreement between the recording artist, the writers of the song, and the producers of the music. That's where you start. Yeah, and then moving from there, each of these entities, the writer of the songs, the producer of the music, the recording artist, they need to affiliate themselves with the appropriate agency. There are agencies in Jamaica and all over the world that represent writers, that represent producers, that represent performers. You need to affiliate yourself with these agencies. And by affiliating, you're going to be educated because they provide information as to what they're doing, what you're entitled to.
Right.
That is how you can ensure
that you get what's due
to you. It's not going to come to you automatically because you're entitled to it. If you don't take the necessary steps to put in place paperwork at the beginning,
you won't get it.
Affiliate yourself with the appropriate agencies that collect these royalties around the world, then you're going to get it.
Right.
And to try and get it after 10, 15, 20 years, it's
difficult.
It's kind of crazy, you know.
I just want to interrupt to say greetings to the legendary Gil Bailey, veteran radio announcer, producer, and community person that is logged in and listening to what you're saying, Mr. Stanbury. And this alone should tell you how important what you're doing is to people who are out there. Do you have, I know you're now living in Florida, as you mentioned at the top of the hour. How difficult is it going to be for you to help to make a change that you couldn't make when you were in Jamaica, in terms of grooming artists and ensuring that there's a proper business model? Let me also say greetings to China Nicole, who's logged in too.
In fact, I think it's much easier. Yeah? I think it is easier to function outside of the space where the crabs are putting the other down in the barrel. Yeah? So I choose to hop out of the barrel.
Okay.
Yeah? And we're living in one global village.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
The world has become
So
a much smaller place.
Yes, the fact that I reside in Florida does not make it any more difficult for me at all. It actually makes it much easier for me to have an impact inside of Jamaica. Yeah? Technology allows me to know everything that's going on in Jamaica every day. I know more about what's going on there than people who are sitting there doing nothing. Yeah?
Oh, ouch! I felt that one.
No, that is true. You know,
Yeah.
so it doesn't provide a barrier for me at all. It actually enables me to speak more freely
And act.
and express myself, and also act in an environment where I don't have bureaucratic obstacles. Yeah, and I can communicate with whoever I wish to communicate with
To move
inside
forward.
of Jamaica. They are all, one good thing about the Jamaican artists, they are online. Yeah, that's one very good thing about them. They're all using social media. Not all of them effectively, but they're all there. You know, and because they're all there, I'm, chilling with them every day.
Would you
Interacting with them every day.
just judging again from the comments that I'm getting in the chat room, Lloyd, there's definitely a need for this information. Have you ever considered hosting a masterclass online where artists can register with you to give you their questions that you would answer, or, sign them up to be clients for you?
I have tried to provide information. I write fairly often, regularly. I write for newspapers. I write regularly on Facebook, providing information about what's going on in the business and what people should know. So I try to do that. It's something that, requires a lot more thinking as to how to better facilitate the artists who need to know. And it's something that I'm always trying to find the right formula as to how to do it, so that we can get information out to as many people as possible without having all the other lawyers saying, Stanbury, you are giving away the legal advice for free.
No, it wouldn't be free. They would have
through
to.
this model that you have set up.
They would have to show their commitment by, there would have to be an exchange of you give them the advice.
There are ways to do that, and it's something that is being seriously looked at as we speak.
Right.
That's as much as I would say right now.
Okay. I see that the Jamaican government is thinking about setting up, correct me if I'm wrong, an artist registry in Jamaica. What do you think the purpose of that is, apart from gaining financial funds? And how will it help the artists who are there?
My understanding of the registry, and a lot of people have been very have had negative views on this registry. But if this is a business, and we're talking about being professionals, I think that there's a registry of lawyers, there's a registry of accountants, registry of doctors, there's a teachers association, people have to be certified to be professionals in various areas. Yeah, and nobody questions it. Yeah. So the registry can serve a very